Hi guys, welcome to the Epic Aesthetic. You are watching High Intensity Training Vlog number 11. This is the A split. This is the second day of 3 days before I start the 3 days of the B split, and it's back and biceps routine. So again, barbell shrugs to start, at least on the A week, because traps are a weak point for me. So I want to hit them hard, hit them while I'm fresh, using straps so I can keep the weight up. I sort of feel if I need my forearms to come up, I'll do some direct work or whatever. But with things like shrugs, I simply find you can overload the muscle a lot more with the help of some good straps. I start off the exercise using my grip as much as possible, and it's only at the last minute as my grip fails that I'll let the straps take up some slack and keep finishing off the trap muscle. So 2-2-2 form. The reason that I'm not using 4-2-4 is just because the stroke or the range of motion for this exercise is very small, and it simply becomes impractical to move that slow. So I find that sufficiently slow to keep a good grind and keep the muscle working without any slop, and getting a strong contraction at the top. That 2-second pause is really important. Try and pull your shoulders through your ears if you can. Don't just rest up there. So I did one set to failure, 6 to 10 reps, and then I add on a rest pause. For beginners and even intermediate guys, and in a lot of ways I'm an intermediate as well. I can overdo it with rest pause and statics and intensity techniques like negatives. And in this video, I've pretty much done that with every exercise. But my reason is I've been out of the gym 6 days, and I really just wanted to attack the body and just have a really good session. So, that can be a good and a bad thing sometimes. But it is what it is. I love this machine. This is the Hammer High Pull. It's brilliant because it's isolateral, and it's one of those unique bits of gear that they sort of have a unique or innovative stroke where you work the lats from a sort of vertical pull position, but as you come down and lower those handles, you end up forming more of a row position on the back. So it's quite unique, and it's quite a good exercise if you were trying to be sort of ultra efficient and only do one exercise for lats. This would be one of those things that would work quite well. Otherwise, you can do pull downs and then a set of rows, which is the normal strategy most people seem to use, myself included. But I think this exercise, I think it satisfies sort of both planes of movement very well. It really hammers those lats. So I'm not doing pre-exhaust with the back routine on this part of the split. And what that means is the biceps, honestly, they will give out, or at least work as hard as your back muscles. And so some of the downside is, depending on how you're structured strength-wise, is that your guns can give out on you before your lats are fully toasted. But it sort of comes down to how your strength ratios are between muscles, and you sort of have to work out whether you need pre-exhaust or not to structure your physique the way you want. So as you can see, I failed on the 11th rep I was attempting, and then my wife comes in and helps me with some negative reps. So I sort of pull it down fast, hold it for 2, and lower for 4 seconds under control. And this is a wonderful technique, but again, if you're just a beginner or an intermediate, use it sparingly. Don't use it week in, week out on the same exercise. Just throw it in there, once a month or something like that to raise the intensity occasionally. So after doing that, I'm doing some seated rows here, 4-2-4, and again, it's important to squeeze for 2 seconds in that rear position. Try and pull that shoulder girdle as far back as possible. As you can see here, I'm not really getting the shoulder girdle to sort of close up like I would like, and I think the weight could be a little bit too heavy, as well as that previous exercise has a fair bit of overlap in terms of the row or the horizontal plane pulling sort of movement. So it might show that through the next weeks it might be a redundant exercise I'm doing here. It might not be necessary for me to do this row movement. And how I will determine that is essentially if I progress a rep or two each week, it's okay to keep this exercise. But if it starts to stall, it goes backwards, well, I know that first exercise of the hammer high pulls is doing enough to toast off the fibers in my back. So we'll monitor that, and you'll get to sort of learn a lot about my thought process in terms of designing programs. So throwing in some rest pause. Again, I probably shouldn't be doing it. I don't need to do it, I don't think. But again, 6 days off, I really was just hungry. So I went with that hunger. What was interesting, but on that last exercise, I improved by 4 reps, and it was about, I don't know, could have been 12, 13, maybe even 14 days between back workouts. And that says something about frequency, you know. You see these people training body parts twice a week, and I get improvements often with 12 or 14 days between body parts, sometimes when I have a forced layoff and a sickness. So it shows you that the time it takes for those sort of fast twitch fibers that you only really engage in the last rep, that last rep as you push towards failure. Those fast twitch bundles, they take a very long time to recover. There's studies looking at ultra fast twitch fibers in sort of Jamaican sprinters, and they've found that they often get their best times after 3 months off training due to forced layoffs and injury, because they've discovered that these massive fast twitch bundles they have, I guess unique to them, have a really long recovery time. And it makes me really think about, can I extend the frequency? Can I go wider in terms of frequency on my training? So that's something I might look at, as long as the reps tick up 1 or 2 each week on all exercises, I tend to just keep going 1 on 2 off. But there will come a time when my strength rises and the recovery time in between those workouts is insufficient. It's just not enough time to adapt and grow new muscle, and I'll have to go wider. I'll have to be 1 on 3 off, but hopefully I'm not quite at that point. I'll just keep doing the 1 on 2 off. So incline curls to finish. As you saw before, I was doing some rear delt work. I might not need it. I've got it there for the moment, and I'll just monitor it. If I keep improving on it, I'll keep it. If not, I know that the rowing is sufficient enough to handle the rear delt. And here's another exercise. I'm so close to dropping direct bicep work. I think I just have a prejudice for it, but my whole experience of the bicep training, especially when doing HIT, is that especially if you haven't done pre-exhaust on the pull down movements at the start of the workout, your biceps really get a lot of stimulus already. They do get taken to failure. So this exercise really could be redundant, but if I improve on it by a rep or 2 each workout, I will keep it. But if it really starts to slow to a crawl, I can't really use a lot of weight on it because they're already toasted. It's only 16 kilo dumbbells, 424 form. I might just throw it to the wind and just see if I can maintain or increase bicep size by doing the counterintuitive of dropping bicep work. So again, probably foolishly doing a bit of rest pause here, but as I said, I just wanted to attack the weights. So just some take-home points on the new routine. If you're not doing pre-exhaust work on, say, your pull-downs, doing some stiff arm deadlifts or whatever, you'll find that your biceps get enough of a workout without the need for curls. So a little bit of flex for free, just to see how the bicep development's going. I'm pale as a ghost at the moment, but As you can see, I've only done 3 exercises that would hit the biceps, and they're already nice and pumped and swole. So these guys I see doing 20 sets to have half that size, I don't know why. So please like, share and subscribe, and have a good one.